In today's session, we are going to understand about how effectively security control feature as a feature which can be used in TallyPrime. So we will understand about introduction to security control, what is security control and why it is required, and then we will understand about the various security features which is available in TallyPrime and how it can be configured and effectively it can be used with a product walkthrough. Right. So finally, we'll also have a Q&A session only pertaining to the topic what we are discussing today on the security control features. With that, we are going to start. I'm going to start the session. So security, as all of us are aware, security control or security is one of the key element or key aspects of any organization, or it's not only organization. The term security itself is very critical and very important, as the name itself indicates that it is basically it's safeguards the whole thing. And in terms of um, the area what we are discussing today, the data, right? uh, the security ensures that the access is restricted and it is allowed only for authorized members or authorized users. It doesn't allow to access it doesn't allow the access to the unauthorized people. Right. So same data security refers to the process of protecting data from unauthorized access. So why data security is required? So as I stated, it's very important asset. So data is very important asset, and it requires to be safeguarded, and it requires to be safeguarded. Hence, it is essential to safeguard the data. To safeguard the data, data security aspect or data security feature is important. Right. So let's understand and let's spend time in understanding what are the various security features which is available in TallyPrime. So from the basic of setting up of security in TallyPrime, we have a voucher level security. So voucher level security is basically helps in safeguarding the data and allow the limited access or specific rights to the specific users. This will help you in designing. For example, if you are having an accounts receivable team or accounts payable team, you can give the access to only the specific voucher types which is being used in accounts receivable or accounts payable. So that is the behavior, that is the functionality of voucher level security. So we also have a security control like Tally Vault, which is an advanced level of security, and it safeguards the data, and it doesn't even displays the name of the company if you enable this security. So that much advanced level security information will not be stored. Precisely that there will be no security info which will be stored with once if the Tally Vault is enabled. Right. So we have a feature called single sign on, in case if you are having multiple companies with same security credentials. Like if you provide security credentials for a security credential for one particular company, then subsequent companies with the same security credentials will be opened even without asking you the credentials. So that is one more feature what we have in TallyPrime product. So apart from that, we also have user management. So user management, in the user management, we have a option. Even though these were available in our existing Tally in our earlier Tally versions, um, but the way it has been provided in TallyPrime basically helps you in seamless experience, right? Change user, change passwords, and users and passwords. So in one to change the user or to change the password, no need to switch off and switch on the company. You can do in the while the company is opened, you can do all these activities. So that is one thing which we have improved, which we have introduced in TallyPrime. Next is the password policy. The password policy basically is, everyone of us are aware about what exactly is the password policy, wherein it talks about the password length, the password expiry, reuse of password, and um, the type what you are using, minimum characters what you are using, what you want to configure. The password policy talks about that. That particular feature is will be talking about that. So finally, we have tally audit. So this is different from the from the audit or trial what we discussed. It is totally different. This is only specific to the data audit. So um, whatever the audit voucher is done, like basically these details are these vouchers will be tracking the updated history on the data. So let us see all these, let us see this feature and its usage through product walkthrough. So what I'm doing, I'm going to create a company. Just a second. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a company with all these features enabled. So now, so by default, this option of security control will not be available. It will be looking, it will be like this plain. So what you have to do is you have to go to F12, and to enable security control, you have to set this option to yes. So you have to enable, use Tally Vault password to encrypt the company data, use access control. You have to set this option, both the option to yes. So now you have to you can create a company. So I'm creating a company with security control to enable the security control. So I will set up security control as security control password. So now I'll set this option to yes. So moment when I'm enabling the security control, I'm getting a notification stating that forgetting your password will render your data inaccessible. That means if you have forgotten your password, you will not be able to access the data. So you should, this is very important, you to remember the password what you have set. So now I'm setting the option to enable tally audit feature to yes. So there is this is one more feature, disallow opening in educational mode. Basically, this feature helps you if you set this option to yes. Even if the data is backed up, and if it is trying, if it is being trying to open, if it is trying to open in a non tally prime, or sorry, non tally serial number environment, or if it is, if the with the serial number in educational mode, system won't allow you to open if this feature is set to yes. Because until unless tally has a serial number, the system will not allow you to open the company. So this is the behavior of this feature. You can set this option to yes. Once everything is set, the system will ask you to give the username and password and login. So this is how you will be setting up the security control. This is how you will be setting at the up the security control. Now, if you see, I'll just shed the company. Now, if you see, the company is shown without the name. That means this is the level of security which has been provided, right? So now you will, next step is you have to see how do you create, how do you set up the user management, which is which I'm talking about, this component. So how do you do that? So to configure the user level credentials, you have to go to Alt K. So you have this user management, right? Under this user management, you have password policy, user roles, users and passwords, change password, and change user. So even before doing this activities, you have to set the user roles. So user roles, by default you will have data entry, Tallynet user, Tallynet auditor, and Tallynet owner. These are the default security levels which will be available. In addition to that, you will have a owner security level. That's all. So owner security level is a hidden security level. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an security level for purchase department. So I'm going to create a security level. Now, if you see, I'm creating a security level, but I'm using the security level. I'm using the basic security level of as data entry. So once I enable this, if you see, there are two options which is already coming, which is already being displayed. Days allowed for backdated entry. So days allowed for backdated entry means, for example, if you want to allow the user who can modify the previous days or previous weeks entry, that can be configured. If you're not configuring anything, then it would be only current dates transactions can be created and modified. So we can set this, for example, we can allow this for I'll allow for 3 days. The user can um, modify the backdated entries. Now again, now again, cutoff date for backdated vouchers. For example, if I'm that means I'm setting a specific date wherein the backup the backdated vouchers can be modified. For example, if I'm setting a cutoff date as 31st March 2023 24, 24, that means till then the backdated vouchers can be modified. After that, the data will not be allowed to modify, right? So that is the behavior of this function. Now, allow to save the view reports to this company. Basically, we have a new feature called a report save. So do you want to allow the user to save the report view feature, is what it is given. So now allow to modify WhatsApp business number. So this is also, as we have introduced our new features, whatever the new features what we are going to introduce, if it is being part of security feature, it would be added. So if this configuration indicates that if do you want to allow the users to add add or edit the registered mobile numbers. So this is one more critical configuration, even though it is very less known, but this is very critical function wherein it says that set alter rules for print voucher before saving. So this means if you are not setting this option, um, the system will allow you to take print even before saving the transaction. So sometimes what will happen, by mistake, I have taken a printout, but I have escaped. Instead of completing the transaction acceptance, I have escaped. So there is a quite possibility that you have a hard copy of the invoice, but you don't have a voucher against it. So this is to iron out these possibilities. So this, if you enable this option to yes, right? So allow the following voucher types, which one you wanted to allow to take a print, or which one you don't want to allow to take the print. Now I'm setting, let's assume that I'm setting up all accounting voucher types. For all accounting voucher types, the print before save or print before save option will be disabled. So now I am setting end of list. So allow override tax rules details. These things, if the user want to modify or change any tax rule related, you can set this option to yes. So exclude on account from bill allocation. So exclude on account from bill allocation is basically um, um, for user, you will not allow them to see the on account, because see, this will uh, the reason being, um, there is a quite possibility that if they don't know the reference, if the user doesn't know the reference against which one to track, so they will the user will push into on account. If you to iron out or to eliminate that possibility, you can restrict the user from seeing the on account option in bill allocation. So allow company to connect. So this is basically for TallyNet. We have a tally.net features. To experience tally.net feature, do you want to allow the user to connect to tally.net feature, right? So, and this is about the following facilities, which one you wanted to allow, which one you wanted to disallow. So now let's assume that if you set full access, for balance sheet, right? Full access for profit and loss account, full access for day book, full access for accounting vouchers, and full access for inventory vouchers, right? Now you will allow the user to create accounting masters, create inventory masters, create purchase voucher, create purchase order, and create payment voucher. For example, you are giving payment voucher. So these, for purchase department, you are giving this, and you can also give display outstanding reports, end of list. So that means these are the rights which is available for user to perform. Now you have given the rights. Once you give the rights, once you configure the rights, you have to accept the screen. So once you accept the screen, so you can go back and see Alt K, uh, user roles. You will have purchase department added. Now you can create a user. You can create a user. So now users and password. So what I'll do, I'll go to, I'll create a user under purchase department. So I'll create a user called B, and the password is B, right? So you can go to F12 to see these features like show user status, apply password policy, disallow registered. These are the configurations which can be seen. Now accept the screen. Now if you see, if I log in, if I want to change the user and log in with that particular user, so you can go to change user and type the username, which is B, and password is B. Now you will be able to see I've logged in with B and B credentials. So this is how you can the change user within the application works. Now if you see, you don't have an access, the user doesn't have an access for balance sheet, the user doesn't have an access for profit and loss account, the user doesn't have an access for trial balance, the user doesn't have an access to um, the user doesn't have an access to daybook. So he has an access only to create the masters and accounting masters and inventory masters. Now, even here, you can see he doesn't have an access to any of the vouchers except purchase. So even if you go to F6 other vouchers, he has F9 payment, he can go, and other vouchers he can do F9 purchase. Only these are the voucher types he has an access. Now I'll try to create a master. So now I'm creating a purchase ledger. I'm going to create stock item. Now, if you try to see here, even if you try to take a print, it gives you no access allowed. The reason being, the user is denied from taking a printout even before saving the transactions. So until unless the transaction is saved, the user will not be able to take a print. Now, if you see here, even user doesn't have an access to take a print. Even if you try to go to any of the payables or receivables, it doesn't give you the access, right? So this is how the user can be restricted. So now what I will do, Alt K, shut the option. So I'll go here, admin, test and test. So I'll go to Alt K, user roles, and I'll give cutoff datas. Um, Cutoff datas 15th April. So now what I'll do, Control A and Control A. Alt K, I'll pass some entry F2 16.4. Alt to F2 30th April. So I'm changing it to 30th April. So after that, I'll do one thing. I'll go here and user roles may I'll allow the user to create backdated vouchers. create alter backdated vouchers. Now I'll log in. So I'll change the thing to 1.5. Alt K, change user B and B. Now, okay, just a second. I need to give the access for daybook. Just a second. Alt K, change password. Alt K, sorry, change username. So now the entry is of, okay, why it's not? Okay, just a second, change user. Alt K, alter, say Alt K. I'm going to user roles. Full access. I'll give Control A and Control A. Alt K. User. Sorry. Alt K. Change user, which is B and B. So now user is having an access. Now I'll go here and change the period to 13th April. Sorry, there is no transaction. F2 142024. The system will not allow because it has crossed 13th April, 15th April as cutoff date. Hope that answers the question, sir. Mr. Rahil, that answers your question? Yeah. So now we will move on to the next segment, which is, so we have understood about we understood about the creation of user, the backdated capabilities, the rights and other user roles and rights, and how do you create a user and how do you change the user within the product itself. Now we will get into the next segment, which is the password policy. How do you um, allow the password policy to the user? So I'll go to Alt K. There is an option called password policy. So you'll go to password policy and set, you will enable this password policy to yes. So with this, the password strength, the password expiry, and the other options would be get enabled. So by default, you can set minimum password length whatever you want. By default, it would be 8. You can also mention as 16. System will accept, but 0 when you try, that means 0 is of no length. So now minimum you can try 5 also, the system will accept. So I'll give by default as 8. So you can set the advanced parameters for password strength. So you can set this option to yes. So in this you have password characters or password parameter as minimum numerical alphabet, minimum number of alphabetic characters which you want to provide. You can set this option, right, like 5, because this whatever the password length what you have set, this should match with the password length. All the 3 parameters should be matched with the password length. Even if anything is, if it is mismatched, the system will not allow you to move further. So let's assume that I am giving 5 as, or 4 as the password length, or 5 as 4 as the password length, right? So I'll give numeric character as 2, and I'll give or I'll give numerical character as 3, and I'll give special character as 1. Then only system will allow. Moment when you give 2, the system will not allow until unless the password length is corrected. So now the system is allowed 4, 3 and 1 respectively. Now the password expiry. So this is one thing, like, do you want to allow the password expiry? You can allow the password expiry. That is what days you wanted to keep the password. So 30 days, 60 days, that is left to the left to you. On It is recommended that every 3 months, every month, or every 3 months, the password has to be changed to ensure that the data is safe, right? So that is the recommendation. So you can set according to your requirement. Now if you set 0, password will never expire. So if you set 0, the password expiry will not available. So now you will set the password expiry as 90 days, for example, and notify the users. That means before of 3 days or 2 days or 5 days, the password is getting expired. The system will notify you that your password is about to expire. Consider changing the password. The system, you can set the number of days also to notify the users. And reuse of old passwords. So for example, you have set password one password now, and if you want to reuse that password, system will if you set this option to yes, the system will not allow you the last password to reset or reuse it, right? Reuse it or reset, it won't be available. So you should not use the same password. So now the other option is the user, right? Change password on first login. You can set this option to yes, or subsequent login you can, that is also available. Allow users to change password. So if you don't want users to change their password, that means administrator will always be administrator or super user will always be needed to change the password. You can set this option to yes or no. It is according to your the requirement, right? So that's how you have configured the password policy. Now you will close Tally, and I'll open it again. Now system is asking you to change the password. So now I'll give the password of mine. Now I'll give. So moment when you see here, the new password is not matching with the existing old new existing new password. The system is logged in. So Alt K, uh, change password. If you want to do, you can, system will allow you to change the password again. So change user is this, change username. It will log into the admin super user credentials. So we have learned about the password policy, right? So we understood about the change user, change password, change users and password, tally vault, and password policy we have learned. Now we will see the tally audit, how it can be tracked. Now let's assume that we have already enabled the tally audit from the company alteration screen, a company screen. You can go here, display statement of accounts, tally audit is here. So you can go and you can perform the tally audit. That means if you see here, who has entered and who entered by. So you will select these and you will accept. Done. So again you will accept one. Now there are masters which is created. Accept all. Now users also, there is no users. Now you will go back and the user will log in. You will change the user and your user will log in. I'll show you the effect how it works actually. Change user. I'm changing the username to B. So I've logged in. Now I'll go and modify it into to the modify to change the quantity. Now when you go and see change user, change username, when I log in, display statement of accounts tally audit, voucher type, there is one alteration done. So this is what the system will track who has entered by test, who is an admin, but modified by uh, B, which is a next user. So even it tracks the voucher deletion. For example, I'll show you change user again, change username B. Now I'll go and delete, right? It will, so now we will go back and change user, change user. I'll log into the admin credentials. So display statement of accounts, tally audit, voucher type. The voucher is deleted. If you see here, so display daybook, you can see F12. So there is an option called show entered by and altered by. So do this, you will come to know who has deleted. So entered by an unknown and voucher, this voucher is deleted. So this is how the tally audit will help you in tracking the history of the voucher. So now we understood about all these aspects, and the last one is like the single sign-in for the companies. So we will see how we can do that. So we'll go to I'll create one more company. Right, I'm going to create a new company. Test. This is not required. So I'll enable test and test. So I have created a company. Now what I'll do, I will log in. So I need to use this feature, I need to go to F1. I'll use settings and I'll go to startup. Right, there is an option enable auto login for all. I don't enable auto login for companies with same credentials. You have to set this option to yes. So I'm shutting down the company, both the companies. So what I'll do, I'll go to test and test. Now I'll select F. I'll select Alt K. Select. So I'll use security control. So this is how the company with same security credential, multiple companies if you are having with same security credentials can be used. Okay, this comes this sums up the this sums up the uh, this sums up the security control features in TallyPrime. Now we can take the questions. Okay, so let's take the questions. There is a question from Mr. Rahil Chaudhary. Um, so, can we restrict user to work in specific voucher class of sales? There is no voucher class specific restriction, Mr. Rahil. I hope that answers your question. Mr. Vikas has a question. Can user hyphen owner level change the password? Yes. The moment when you set the configuration to change the password in password policy, yes, the user from owner level can change the password. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Vikas. Okay, there is a question from Mr. Ramani Balu. Will Tally Gold and Silver make any difference from security feature perspective? No, no. Uh, the feature wise, both are remain same. Only the difference between the gold and the silver is like Tally Gold multi-user can be used in multiple systems in the same network. License can be configured in the same network. I hope, Mr. Ramini, that answers your question. There is a question from Ms. Renuka. I want to give full access to the user, but I want to know who is creating, who is voucher, know who is voucher creating. Just a second. Who is voucher create, alter, and delete? So with see there is one more capability which you can use. Yes, you can give full access to the user. You can use edit log. There is a capability in that each line what the user has done that can be tracked. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Renuka. So main admin password, super user password, Mr. Vikas, no user will not be, or the owner owner will not be able to change. Only super user will be able to change that super user password. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Vikas. So there is a question from Ms. Kushbu Shah. Can we keep modifying the permissions given to the user? Yes, you can keep modifying the permissions given to the user. For more details, you can refer to Tally Help, which is having uh, more information or more details about that. You can just go to the application and you can just press Help, right? Tally Help you have, so you can just type security control. Just you can type security control, so you can, here it is. So user management, all this information is available. Like there will be a small little videos also on each of the features how you have to enable, which is available. So there is a question from Mr. Rahil Chaudhary. Can we restrict user to not to access specific ledger? No, Mr. Rahil. Only the voucher type specific security is given. Ledger specific, we have not. It's not available. So can we restrict the part? That's what, Mr. Mayur. Yes, the same. I think. I hope I have answered your question. Also, this particular ledger we have not given. Okay. So there is a question from Mr. Rohit Kumar. Previous session will be repeated. GST sale transaction cycle in TallyPrime, MSME payment. Um, you will be getting the you will get a recorded session of these recorded recordings of these sessions, and you can refer to it, Mr. Rohit. I hope that will help you. So there is a question from Mr. Mayur Mehta. What is the difference between the changes made in Tally edit log and the Tally audit features? So, Mr. Mayur, the Tally audit feature is only captures the latest available logs, but the edit log will have the detailed logs, like because that is as per the guidance of the MCA, the Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? So that is the details. It contains the details of details of changes in each line. Like if you have modified any value of a voucher, it also logs those information. The minute information, the minute changes will also be logged in the voucher. I hope, Mr. Mayu, that answers your question.